When was the last time that you really took the time to map out the possible journey that your customer goes on in the lead up to buying from you, to actually buying from you, and how they receive the products afterwards? Welcome to the Handmade Daily. My name's Lena and I'm the very proud owner of madeit.com.au, where we have over 900 Australian artisans selling through the platform, but also coming together to really create a beautiful community and a collective. Now, these sessions are Monday to Friday, released at 2 p.m. on YouTube each day, and really inspired to simplify and amplify your journey with selling online. So this idea of the customer journey, and I know I have shared with you about this before, but when was the last time that you actually really wrote it down? And there's a few different ways that you can do it. You can kind of come up with a bit of a hypothesis about what you think, and then you can see whether or not it's true, or you can measure and have a look at all the metrics and then work out exactly what's happening that way. So one of the first parts that you want to be thinking about is, how do people discover you? Because that's the first part of the customer journey, right? It's about how have you popped up, and then how have they then decided to actually follow you, start watching you, or seeing your content, or seeing what you make, and then going through to the actual stage of purchasing, and then what's happening afterwards. Now, if we're talking about how they discovered you, there's a few different ways that you can go through this. You know, if you're looking at your metrics on what you're doing with engagement in social media, where are the clues? I listened to a really great podcast the other day with Jenna Kutcher, and she was talking about this whole idea of really looking into your content and seeing which content actually created followers. Because if you've got set up in Meta, right, you can have that set up as a business manager. Pretty simple to do. I might do another session on this, but also have a look on YouTube. There'll be someone who can show you exactly how to set that up. But the good thing is with that is it can show you specifically what is your most well-performing content. Now, interestingly enough, it's like there's that idea where it's like to go for views, because it's such an easy metric to look at, right? It's that real top layer metric. But the interesting thing is with views, it may not mean that it results in actually any action. So the ones that I tend to look for instead are engagement. So where people have actually commented on your post or your reel or your story, or they've shared it, or perhaps you've had lots of messages after that. But also as well, what is the content that's actually resulted in you getting new followers? Because that's kind of where we want to start. Like, many of the people that are already following you, and this is we're talking about online, right? They will have been following you for a long time. So it's going to be harder for you to ascertain actually how they came about you. But this is what we're starting, right? Journey begins again today. But from today, how can you start working out how people are discovering you? Now, one of the most awesome things about the Made It Collective that I've seen firsthand is how many artisans actually purchase off other artisans as well. Because let's be honest, if you believe in handmade, you buy handmade. Like, it's an absolute fact, right? So what I've seen in the community is that when new artisans join the platform and introduce themselves and really join into the community, all of a sudden, they're actually attracting many of the artisans to then follow them on social media. And then they might share stuff, or then there's collaborative stuff that happens, but that can be part of the customer journey. Now, when we're looking at this huge idea of customer journey, it's not something that you're going to be like, oh, I know it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? That may be the case sometimes, but you may also have different types of customers, or customers ordering different types of products as well, depending on what you do. Like, let's say, for an example, Mellow Yarns is a really good example in this. She sells finished crocheted pieces, but she also sells learn to crochet kits. Now, these may be two very different customers. So the whole reason that we want to really get to understand the customer journey is that the more that we can understand what our customer experience is, the more that we can find those opportunities to connect. We can find the language to use. We can find the rhythm in which to reach out or post content, or all of these different things. in this idea of the customer journey, it's leaving clues for you to be able to really amplify what you're doing in the online space. Now, if we're using the same example of the customer journey with potentially in-person markets, it's still got the same idea, right? It's like, well, how did they discover you? Well, you were at that particular market. Okay, there's a location aspect there. And then it's like, well, how many of those customers did you actually connect with and perhaps followed you on social media after that? The more that you can track and measure this, the more that you're going to gain an understanding of how you can make it repeatable. Everything that we're doing is really about the repeatable patterns. That's where the gold lies. So that's it today for the Handmade Daily. I hope you got some ideas dropping in. I love it when you watch content. It's like, oh, something's dropping, something's popping. Have a beautiful day wherever you are. If you're not already subscribed, please do. These Handmade Dailies come out Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Sydney time. And yeah, and if you love the video as well, pop a comment down below or maybe even share it with one of your creative friends. Have a beautiful day and I'll see you next time. Bye.